you meet people you love, and often they clearly think you're a wanker.
I mean, I think Anthony Bourdain had a pop and then sort of retracted it, actually.
He did retract it. I mean, Anthony was a tough one for me because the first book that I ever nearly read. So, like, from a dyslexic point of view, like, it's not that I can read, of course. Like, if you give me a recipe, I can read. It's like I'm on that, right? Words, they're tracking them and just concentration's tricky. But to commit to a narrative book and be part of that story and be submerged into it, I've never had. It's not an emotion that I do through audiobooks. But, like, I got 3/4 of the way through Kitchen Confidential, and it was because it was sort of in
legendary memoir, which I've not read, but must be incredible because it seems to have been inspirational to so many people.
Like, listen, like, he's like cool, like he's really expressive.
He was a recovering, or maybe at the time an active heroin addict, I think, when he was talking about life in the kitchens of New York's top restaurants. Yeah. What was it? The brutality of it,
just the usual
stuff. The rock and roll energy,
drugs, sex, rock and roll, just like the energy, sort of the lack
living
of,
close to the edge, making amazing food.
Yeah, also, I mean, he was brilliant. I loved it. I loved Kitchen Confidential. I literally got just over halfway through. I was in. I was going to read my first book at the age of 27, and I'm not exaggerating. I was on my honeymoon, and as I put the book down on the Amalfi Coast with my new wife, double-page spread just absolutely brutally destroyed me, and I'm like, it's happened again. Fucking hell. I never finished the book because it was just like, how can I? Like, it was just like, shit. But also he was cool, and I really loved his work. And actually I kind of felt that a lot of the TV that he made felt like some of the energy that you had in your work. And I just loved it. It was sort of under the skin of things, and it was about culture. And I loved him to bits, but I knew he thought I was a wanker. So that's quite hard to swallow. So you just sort of have to almost forget it. And then every year he came back to promote his book, it was like easy to get a page if he just started on me again. So I'm quite that. I see myself getting used in that like pattern. And then beautifully, I don't know why I did this, but I think I agreed for the Observer Food Monthly or something like that. I agreed to have a journalist with me for a weekend in Miami for the food festival. And it's like, oh, what's Jamie doing in America? So you have a journalist next to you for bloody 72 hours. Really clever idea. And day one, we go in there and we're walking behind the scenes, and this is all these marquees on the beach and like loads of chefs from around America. And I'm the only Brit there sort of representing, doing demos and getting everyone going. And 150 metres ahead of me, Bourdain's walking up. I'm like, oh, fuck. It's going to kick off. Like, it's going to end up in a scrap. This is going to be a nightmare. Got a fucking journalist next to me. And then as he got to like 20 metres, he started making, and as he got to 10 metres, he just went into this speech about getting it wrong, and that he apologised profusely for everything that he'd done. And basically what happened is, and this is an absolute fact, is they hated me because I was a TV chef. But what happens is, from a technical our point of view, like the Naked Chef Series 1, 6 half-hour programmes. Season 2 and 3, 8 half-hour programmes. That's all I ever did, right? Smashed it. Global, like 30 countries, like buzzing. By this time, Bourdain was doing like 80 shows a year. So he hated me and then became me. And this is what happens time and time again. It's like that, you always hate what's on the other side. And they all say, oh, I'd never do TV. They all do, by the way. They all do. They all change. But to have that apology was epic for me. It was so epic, and it meant such a lot. And also I was still semi sort of like in my 30s then. But also I had a journalist right next to me. And for the first time in my life, having a journalist next to you, and as we walked, we got hugged, like the wife looked relieved and said, see you at the bar tonight. And we had a good night on the Raz. And as we walked off, I just looked at the journalist and said, might as well go home now.